Champagne game, FizzFam.
Confidants, what is your profession? See my friend, nothing but soldiers and empowerment over here.
Pop that cork, let it rain, living lavish, no restraint.
Confidants, welcome to the Champagne City. You see it. You see it. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm the Empress, and you are joining me for grown discussions and bubbly banter. Baby, over here, we get classy with a twist, huh? A little clink with chaos with a side of charm. So if you're ready to sip, savor, and spill, baby, grab your favorite glass of bubbly. I don't care if it's water. Kick your feet up on one of those Chase lounges and let's get ready to get into the show because y'all listen. So I was perusing the streets of TikTok and I happened to come across this collection of videos, should I say. And it had to do with black fatigue. But here's the twist. It wasn't the black people, the melanated ones who were having this discussion. It was white TikTok who were saying they're tired of black people.
Fellas, nature boy here hates niggas. Now what are we gonna do about that?
Black struggles, black complaining, and they have taken the term and labeled it or coined it black fatigue. Now, I'd heard of black fatigue before, but not quite in this context. I knew black fatigue to be the struggle or plight of the black American who's tired of oppression, yada, yada, yada. Y'all know the rest. I don't have to rehearse it for you. But to get on TikTok and see unmelanated people saying that they're tired of dealing with or listening to black issues, baby, had me flued out. I'm not going to say too much about it. I'm going to let you watch it for yourself. This is going to be a part of a 3-part series because this video is actually in response to a video of a white woman who was caught on video calling a little 5-year-old autistic black boy the N-word.
Niggers.
So we're going to get into that video as well. Like I said, this is going to be a part of a 3-part series, most likely, as soon as the weather lets up in our area, because right now, we're dealing with, storm. You know what? I'm ready to ship myself back to the Midwest. I am, because I'd rather take on 20 inches of snow and 50 degree below zero weather than deal with the air spinning around by itself with an attitude, is all I'm saying. But until then, I'm going to drop these videos for you so that you can be included in the conversation, so that when we do go live, you know what we're going live about. Because we do need to talk about it, because I'm sick of y'all. I'm sick of this racism. I'm sick of the hate. And I'm talking about from both sides. But right now, we're about to get into all of this so-called black fatigue. So drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this. Let me know what your feelings are about this. And always remember, you're entitled to your opinion, but you must respect the rules of the house and be respectful. Now, I don't care what you say about this trollop on the screen, but as far as dealing with each other in my comments and in my chat, please be respectful. Treat each other like family, not like your family, because some of y'all families is part of the problem. But treat each other like you're a part of the Champagne family. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to your thoughts. You're entitled to disagree. But what you're not entitled to do is be disrespectful. All right? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get out the way so that you can enjoy the show. Confidants, always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, baby, it's causing you to depreciate. Now raise your glasses, clink, and let's drink till we meet again. Showtime.
Fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hidrattery, animalistic. This This is why people have black fatigue. When you act like this, it's not normal behavior.
So I had not initially seen these two now deleted videos from a woman who was attempting to talk about what happened in Rochester, Minnesota, where a white mom called a 5-year-old child the N-word, doubled down on her racial slur, and then flipped off that kid's family. And how after that incident went viral all over the internet, a Christian fundraising site called Give, Send, Go raised over $700,000, but not for that little kid who had to endure that woman's racial slurs. No. They raised $700,000 for the white mom yelling racial slurs at a 5-year-old child. After the mom doubled down on the content in that video saying, and I quote, "I called the kid out for what he was," a Christian fundraising platform raised more than $700,000 for that woman. A GoFundMe page for her also raised almost $400,000. Now, my understanding is that both of those organizations are not going to be giving that woman that money, because fundraising a bunch of money to support a woman being a racist violates their terms of service. So obviously, internet discourse has blown up over this subject, with racists saying that people being mad at this mom are participating in cancel culture. And again, they all want to throw a bunch of money at her and affirm her racist behavior that she doubled down on. And then you have folks on the other side who are saying a small child had to endure intentional, racist, hateful behavior, a verbal attack from an adult. And what does it say about our country that she felt free to treat a child that way? And then doubled down on her racism afterward and was also flooded with support from people who are like, hell yeah, girl. Be a total shitbag to a little kid, lob those racial slurs at a child. Like, what does that say about our country? So this woman, whose videos I showed you at the beginning, she thought she had some meaningful contribution to this conversation, where she said, yeah, okay, it wasn't okay that this woman did this, but all of American society has black fatigue. First off, girlfriend, your little racist backwater does not represent all of American society, and how fucking dare you think you speak for all of us? Now, I want to take a quick little tangent here, because initially I had not seen these videos, but I had seen a number of creators I follow talking about black fatigue. Now, these were all black creators who were referencing apparently this woman's videos, but I was confused because I had not heard the term black fatigue used that way. I thought black fatigue was referencing the exhausting experience of being a black person in the United States of America. How the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow, how institutionalized racism, generational poverty, and the unending, exhausting push for racial justice in this country are causing black people to feel a bone-deep, spiritually deep level of fatigue. Right? And so I was confused about the term black fatigue being used to basically mean like white people are tired of having to not be overtly racist. White people are tired of having to like witness black people living their lives or see elements of black culture. Like I didn't understand what was happening. Right? Because in my mind, I'm thinking black fatigue, like the book that Mary Frances Winters wrote in 2020 called Black Fatigue: How Racism Erodes the Mind, Body, and Spirit. Winter's book describes how in every aspect of life, from economics to education to work, criminal justice, and very importantly, health outcomes, the trajectory for black people is not improving. That the book is trying to illuminate the myriad dire consequences of living while black. And then I saw that woman's videos and I was like, oh, I get it now. I get it. Once again, white people are co-opting black people's terminology and twisting something important, a really crucial concept that we need to understand, and they're twisting it into something it didn't originally mean. They're twisting it into something poisonous and dirty and offensive. Right? Just like DEI originally was about diversity, equity, and inclusion, really good, positive things. And the Trump regime has twisted it to mean something negative in the eyes of many Americans now. Right? It's not unlike how conservatives took the term woke and they twisted it into something that now has a negative connotation. They appropriated the word and then tried to transform it into an insult. Right, it's obviously crystal fucking clear that the woman at the beginning of this video is out and proud about her racism, right? Black fatigue to her means I'm tired of having to look at black people. I'm tired of having to interface with black people living their lives. I'm uncomfortable with black culture. I'm uncomfortable with any behavior out of a very narrow, polite range of what is expected of white people. I feel distress when I see people who are behaving in ways that do not conform to my white Christian version of politeness. But like even more than that, I think what she's saying with Black fatigue is I am tired of having to face institutional racism. I'm tired of having to look at Black people when they show me, they demonstrate to me that racism is alive and well in this culture, that generational poverty is alive and well in this culture, that racial discrimination is alive and well in this culture. I don't like having to look at that. That makes me really uncomfortable, right? And notice how she's so freely, easily dehumanizes the appearance of Black people, the behavior of Black people, the culture of Black people. She chooses to use terms like ratchet, like thug, like animalistic. And I realized watching her videos a couple times over that when she says Black fatigue, what she really means is the white woman's right to comfort. I don't want to have to look at things or people that make me feel any level of distress, that make me uncomfortable in any way. The prioritization of my comfort must be put above all else, including like Black people's right to live their lives. So what this woman is saying is that she is uncomfortable watching Black people living their lives, either because so many components of Black culture don't meet the societal etiquette, politeness expectations that are put on white people, or her racism makes her intolerant of having to look at Black people, witness Black culture, or because on some level her discomfort is tied to guilt and shame. She does not like having to look at, be faced with any of the evidence of racial injustice, of Black oppression, of systemic poverty that are widespread in this country. That makes her very uncomfortable. She doesn't want to see Black people living their lives, especially based on the way that she's describing the Black behavior in Black people that make her uncomfortable, Black people in poverty. The white woman's right to comfort is saying that protecting the feelings of white women, making sure that they do not feel any amount of discomfort or distress over justice and over the lives of other people. Black fatigue is just the white woman's right to comfort repackaged in a way that tries to blame Black people for white women having no distress tolerance and no ability or desire to want to face their own racism and unpack it. It's saying, I, the protected white woman, have low emotional literacy and fragile feelings. And being reminded of my privilege and the fragility of my feelings, that's Black people's fault. That is what Black fatigue means when conservatives say it. That's what that woman meant when she used the term Black fatigue. Like so many other systemic problems in our culture, so much discrimination, so much injustice, it all ties back to the institutions of white supremacy and patriarchy, which absolutely perpetuate the white woman's right to comfort.
White people attempting to rebrand white rage by co-opting the term Black fatigue as though it's a phenomenon they actually experience but only recently found the language to talk about is both dystopianly weird and tragically on brand. The copying, the whitewashing, the centering themselves by playing victim. But what's ironically telling about it is that the concept of racial battle fatigue is not new. It's been around for decades, and the term Black fatigue has been used by Black people for quite a while. Mary Frances Winters wrote a book that came out in 2020 titled Black Fatigue, and it describes the mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion that Black people experience because of systemic racism. Now, notice how Black people didn't call that white fatigue, because the purpose is not to assign blame in order to justify bad behavior. It is called Black fatigue because it is a harm that Black people experience, and so their focus is on addressing and combating that harm. Whereas when white people talk about experiencing Black fatigue, they are not talking about a harm that they experience because of Black people or anybody else. They are literally telling on their own inability to live in society with Black people. And that's not new either. That's a pathology that has existed for hundreds of years, but call it what it is, white rage.
Fatigue, this is where we're at now. Imagine how we feel. Y'all even colonized that. Like, Black fatigue is not what y'all created it to be. It was the fatigue of Black people having to exist in this country and dealing with all y'all dumb shit. We were tired, not y'all. Imagine telling the internet that you're tired of all the ghetto-ness and the ratchetness and all of the fights when y'all are quite literally the godfathers of violence in this country. And then all the ghetto and ratchet speak, your kids are emulating exactly what we say and calling it Gen Alpha and Gen Z speak when it was just AAVE repackaged to be palatable for white people. What are we talking? Like, y'all are quite literally exhausting. But like, 8.5 by 11s are gonna do this all the time. I'm not worried about the hueless. However, the Black people getting on and co-signing the black fatigue to make white people feel better could not be me. I imagine agreeing with white people when they aren't even picking you. Super weird. But like, sure, being held accountable for your racist ideology. If I were white and I had to constantly hear that black people are right and then it proves out and you're sitting there being mad, yeah, I'd be mad too. I too would be annoyed if I were half the age of black women but looked twice as old as them. Yeah, I'd be pissed too. So like, hold your black fatigue and raise yourself some accountability. Because, happy Monday, y'all. Black fatigue, shut up.
Some of you have gotten on my last damn nerve. Let's go ahead and talk about black fatigue. This isn't a term for everyone. It was created to help us, black people, explain the deep daily exhaustion we feel from dealing with racism, microaggressions, and being ignored or mistreated by systems that were never built for us. It's not just being tired. It's being worn down mentally, physically, and emotionally because we're constantly surviving in a world that acts like we don't belong in it. Now, here's the part that needs to be said. The audacity of some white men and women that have started using the term like it belongs to them, saying they're fatigued because they're tired of hearing about racism, tired of not being the center of every conversation, tired of being called out. Let me say this, that's not black fatigue. That's discomfort from being held accountable. Every time black folks try to speak about our experiences, somebody always wants to jump in, flip in, and make it about them. And that's not okay. You don't get to hijack language that was made for us by us, especially when we're using it to survive. If hearing about racism makes you uncomfortable, imagine what living it feels like. Black fatigue is not yours to rebrand. Respect it, learn from it, and stop centering yourself in something you will never fully understand.
I've been hearing a lot of white folks throw out the term black fatigue. And of course, they're just admitting that they're fucking racist. But by definition, white people cannot have black fatigue. It specifically means the weariness that black people feel by hundreds of years of oppression and microaggression that happens to them just by being black and trying to survive in this country. So white folks who are claiming black fatigue, if you would please shut your dumb racist ass up. And while we're talking about dumb racist asses, I'm going to also point out that TDS, or Trump Derangement Syndrome, is the fanaticism of Trump supporters to still either be willfully ignorant and follow his dumbass or completely fucking racist. I think it's both. Regardless, TDS applies to Trump supporters, and black fatigue, y'all shut your dumb white racist asses up because it's only black people. Have the day you deserve.
This conversation around black fatigue is showing how cynical some of you all are. And by you all, I mean black people. This is just my feeling, right? Take it with a grain of salt. But I just feel like if a white woman comes on here and is vulnerable enough to say, I'm so tired of you all talking about black this and black that, like you're doing it so much to the degree that I now am experiencing black fatigue. I say kudos, sister. Speak your truth. Do it. And I think the part that is giving me pause is like some black creators are like making fun of it, making light. And I just feel like this is not the time. This is not the time to have jokes, right? Like I'm seeing people make videos about like, I experience weight fatigue when I have to smell your hair after you've been in the rain. That's not nice. Or I experience white fatigue when I have to eat your unseasoned food. And I'm just like, where are you getting this from? And the question that you have to ask yourself, is that necessary? How is that helping anyone? And you know, I'm not one to be in white folks' business, but when I see them doing the work to build a bridge to emotionally connect to us being Black people, because I'm Black, obviously, I see that and I see it's sincere. Because I hear you, right? I hear you. I hear you when you say, like, you're tired of it. You're tired of hearing about the abuse that Black people experience. I hear you. And I think that's valid. So I'm just coming on here to ask my people, because I'm Black. When you see those videos on Black fatigue, maybe instead of being so sinister and cold and making fun of them, maybe try sending thoughts and prayers.
There was a white woman who has now since deleted her video talking about Black fatigue and how she and the rest of society are so fed up with the ghetto and ratchet behavior, the entitlement, the victimhood. Her words, not mine. Couple of things. One, Black fatigue is a real thing, but it's not what that lady was saying. Black fatigue is the emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by the daily stress of living under systemic racism and its consequences. So the Black community has Black fatigue due to the oppression they've lived under in this country since its inception. 2, it never ceases to amaze me how little most white people are willing to look at the true history of this nation and understand that while they personally may not have owned slaves or lynched Black people or used Black babies as alligator bait or conducted experiments on Black people or operated on Black women without pain medicine because they didn't think Black women could feel pain, they are still benefiting off the society and systems that made those things possible. Racism is deeply rooted in this country from the beginning. We stole this land from the indigenous Native Americans. We brought Black people to this country against their will and sold them into slaveries. We ripped their families apart. We have maligned, maimed, and misused the Black community since the first ship arrived on the shores of the United States. Do you understand how hard the fight has been to get even a semblance of equality in this country? And now, what little progress we've made is being undone by this administration. Trump and this administration has made people like that woman and the many racist commenters on that post feel comfortable to speak so publicly about their racist views and feelings. Because, spoiler alert, nothing will happen to them. Black people are questioned about everything they do, even if they're just walking down the street. Until this country as a whole accepts responsibility for how we were designed and built, this country will never see true equality.
The woman who called a 5-year-old a racial slur. My first impression after watching the video, a little bit of white trash. I have to be honest, the kid was 5. I have worked with 5-year-olds for the last 15 years. Absolutely everything they do is out of pocket. They're like little unhinged drunk people. Nothing they do makes sense. A 5-year-old is capable of rifling through somebody's bag and taking things that don't belong to them. Ask any kindergarten teacher. But I realize why so many people are wanting to defend this. Because Black fatigue is real. I think society as a whole is there. We are just so unbelievably fed up with the ghetto ratchet behavior, entitlement, the victimhood, that they want to praise this woman. But what she did is not praiseworthy. But also on the same hand, please remember that every day that us white people get on this app, we get called racial slurs every single day. So if you don't want to be called a racial slur, you also have to stop calling people racial slurs. You can't talk out of both sides of your mouth. But for the love of God, please leave the children out of it. Adults are stupid. They're going to do stupid things. But you're a different level of stupid when you bring kids into it. Thanks for coming to my TED.
So basically what this woman is saying is that two things can be true at the same time. And I said this the other day when this whole situation first broke out, and then we had the panel on Monday night, where I basically said that white people are starting to get fed up, and that is the whole premise behind Black fatigue, is that nobody wants you to continue to play victim for the rest of your life. They tired of being held accountable for things that their ancestors did. They tired of you blaming all of your failures and the things that you weren't able to accomplish on white people. They're tired of you sitting there saying that you're a victim every single day, regardless of what your circumstance is, regardless of what you've been given, regardless of all of the affirmative action, regardless of the fact that you're saying that you're the most educated, but really you're the most enrolled. They tired of you blaming your debt on the system. They tired of you saying that white men are the problem. They tired of you asking for programs, and they're tired of being held accountable for the decisions that you're making every single day.
She'll be watching her back for the rest of her life. Yeah, because that's not thuggery, hidrattery, animalistic. This is why people have Black fatigue. When you act like this, it's not normal behavior. People do stupid stuff. People say stupid stuff. That's life. It's not normal to threaten to unalive people because you don't like what they're doing. But here we are. People are getting sick and tired of opening up TikTok and seeing brawls on cruise ships, brawls in the airport, like literally the most ghetto behavior. We're tired. We're tired of it. But then whining and complaining and acting like it's not your fault that you act that way. Yeah.
And so that comment proved her right. And for whatever reason, y'all think that the white people don't have eyes, that people that are not black don't have eyes, and they can't see how ghetto a lot of this is. And then I have to pay for it because I got to go outside and then account for what you did. People are tired.
This is the first time I'm hearing this phrase on TikTok, but I could use context clues and understand what it is. So, funny story, I'm scrolling on TikTok, minding my own business, just getting lost in the videos, and a white woman pops up in my algorithm, and it's titled Black Fatigue, and I'm like, this should be interesting. Now, this is a creator that I've really grown to respect their videos. Basically, in her video, she's calling out the Black community for different ignorant things that we do. And it's not just her. I've seen a lot of white people on this app kind of come out. It's almost like, raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Regina George type of videos, and that's what they're doing toward Black people. Here's the thing. The videos that I've personally seen is not racism. It's accountability. It's one of those to where they are tired. They are fed up to where they have opened their camera and they start confessing the things that agitate them about the Black community. And because we have gotten to that point, you know who I blame? The Black community. I mean, for one, the actions that they are mentioning is clearly from the Black community. Black people in the comment sections are just like, this is racism, this is this, and this is this. I blame y'all. This is what happens when the Black community cry wolf or cry racism in instances that's not racism, to where now we have a hard time knowing the difference between what is actually racism and what is actually accountability. We've allowed this to happen because we do not like being held accountable for some of the ignorance, some of the degeneracy, some of the just plain right foolishness that comes out of our community. We refuse to address it. And when we have people who address it, they are called coons. They are called like judgmental. And so now you have white people entering the chat and said, you know what? We're tired of it. We're tired of being called racist for holding y'all accountable to the ignorant things that's happening.
She cooked. I mean, she pretty much summed it up. And I can't tell you how many times that I've been called out of my name by people that look like me, or they call me a sellout for wanting better for the Black community. And there's so many different times that I've seen people cry wolf, that I've seen people fake, that I've seen people look for a Justice League, that I've seen the sisterhood come to the rescue and the aid of people that actually a lot of them don't deserve it. Even the heroes that we celebrate and that we champion and that we get behind with these causes. And Black Lives Matters, which is an Marxist organization, and we start to think about the way that we vote in our communities and the fact that we don't necessarily take care of our neighborhoods, and the crime that is perpetuated is usually against us, but we don't come out to protest against that, and we don't hold the people that's in our communities accountable, and that We also know who the killers and the dealers and the people that are doing the worst in the community, but we refuse to work with the community. As a matter of fact, we say defund the police, but then we want justice and we want more funding to continue to do the things that's not best for us. Something got to give.